More details on former TKO executive chairman Vince McMahon selling another $100 million worth of TKO Group holding stock. Why did he do that? And actually, what does he plan to use that money for? We'll let you know all of the details about that. Plus, Becky Lynch has opened up once again on the allegations made against the former WWE and TKO chairman. An update on Illya Dragonov's future in NXT. Could he be set for our main roster call-up? Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler, reveals why he decided not to join AEW after his release from WWE last year. Cody Rhodes reveals a brand new shirt inspired by The Rock busting him open last Monday night on Raw. An update on the tickets sold and distributed for AEW Dynasty coming up later on this month. And Pete Dunn, once again, is the producer for WWE Speed. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Vince McMahon. A bit of an update when it comes to even more stock being sold by the former WWE and TKO executive chairman. Now, details have emerged on Vince McMahon selling another $100 million worth of stock in WWE parent company TKO Group Holdings. Now, this news first emerged in a video we did a couple of weeks ago, and that was based on an SEC filing from TKO back on March 28. However, unlike McMahon's sale of $412 million worth of stock earlier in the month, this one wasn't just as straightforward and wasn't just a straightforward sale. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics explains, quote, Vince McMahon's latest stock transaction, disposing of 3.484 million TKO shares, was related to his margin loan with Morgan Stanley, which was initiated in March 2020, shortly after the XFL folded. Vince got $85 million in cash at the time from the loan. March 2024 was the scheduled month for the agreement to be settled, in which many shares would be transferred to Morgan Stanley in 15 installments throughout the month, from March 5th to March 25. How many shares Morgan Stanley got was contingent on complex math involving what the stock price would be this month. I believe Vince would have ended up transferring around 2.25 million of the 3.484 million shares to Morgan Stanley, but instead the parties amended the agreement at the beginning of the month for Morgan Stanley just to get all 3.484 million shares in exchange for an additional payment to Vince of $100 million, which is close to market value for the incremental shares being transacted. In other words, this wasn't an entirely spontaneous stock sale, but Vince did decide to sell off more than the original agreement required. To review, earlier this month, in a more straightforward transaction, on March 4, Vince did sell 5.350 million shares, liquidating around $412 million. And in November, he sold 8.4 million shares for around $642 million. After his stock transactions, Vince now has 11,518,099 shares, which is about 6.7% of all TKO shares. He has the same percentage of voting power. Plus, due to TKO's special one-time dividend that paid out upon closure of the merger in September, Vince received about $111 million. The transactions above total more than $1.2 billion in cash that Vince has received since September. So what do you make of this? What do you make of the amount of money that's been raised by McMahon? Do you think that's going to go into legal fees? Do you think that's going to go into possibly something else involving pro wrestling? Maybe even another professional wrestling company? Would that be possible? Let me know your thoughts, your reaction to all of it in the comment section below. Now, Becky Lynch, she spoke once again about Vince McMahon after the allegations made against the former WWE and TKO chairman. WWE superstar Becky Lynch has talked about the sexual misconduct allegations against Vince McMahon, expressing how she only saw one side of her former boss. She said, quote, "So, those allegations are horrible," began Lynch in her recent interview with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour. "It's so hard to listen to because that's not my experience. He was so good to me, and Vince had a genius about him. He was not the easiest to work with, but he'd also lived an extremely interesting life in terms of what he built, so I like learning from him. I like talking to him, and he is responsible for all of the things in my life by building WWE." The WWE star has had difficulty digesting the news about McMahon's allegations because of how he had treated her, stating that McMahon showed her respect in their time working together. Quote, "We would have had some ups and downs, but he was always good to me as a person and always treated me with respect, and I felt like I had earned a lot of respect from him, and he gave me a lot of respect. And then you're hearing this other side, which is not the person that I know. And that's really hard. Now, Lynch empathizes with the victims of McMahon's deviance and explains there seems to be two sides to her former boss, with her bearing witness to the kind and respectful side. She said, quote, "I hate that anybody experienced that in general, especially from somebody that has been very kind to me in my life, in my career. It's like two different people," added Lynch. "He's like a grandfather. I remember telling him that I was pregnant and how good he was to me and how happy he was for me, and you think of that kindness that you felt, and then you hear about this other side, and it's horrible. It's horrible to put those two people together." So what do you make of Lynch's comments about McMahon there? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below as well. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to NXT champion Illya Dragonov. Now, Illya Dragonov is heading into yet another defense of the NXT championship at NXT Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania weekend, but many questions surround his future in WWE as well as NXT. Fightful Select's Corey Brennan has been told that Dragonov is not planned for a call-up this time, but is expected to make his way to the main roster upon losing the NXT Championship, with some in NXT feeling he is beyond the brand at this stage of his career. Some fans have questioned if Dragonov was willing to make the move to the main roster and cite the trips home he makes as the reason why. At this time, Fightful say they have not been told of any such issue, with WWE being more than happy to accommodate Dragonov's schedule. With regard to NXT Europe, one NXT source told Fightful that Dragonov has not been considered for the expansion since making his way over on a regular basis to NXT programming in the United States. In the broader scheme of WWE, the belief of several in NXT is that WWE see Dragonov in the same vein as Gunther and have plans to push him in a similar capacity to the current Intercontinental Champion once he makes his way to the main roster. While in NXT, Dragonov has been a constant source of praise, with NXT producers needing to give him very little direction, something that is unique to Illya with the current NXT roster. One NXT talent noted to Fightful their belief that Dragonov elevates everyone he steps in the ring with and that he has an incredible mind for the business. Dragonov is also said to be incredibly easy to work with one source noting he is a wonderful person to be around. So when would you like to see Illya Dragonov on the main roster? Let me know your thoughts, and what opponents would you like to see him face off against? Now, Nick Nemeth, of course, he's currently in TNA Wrestling. Many had expected him to possibly go to AEW after his WWE release last year, but Nick Nemeth, in a new interview with the Keeping It 100 podcast, has revealed why he decided not to become All Elite. He said, quote, "In the past, some talks, but I had a plan that I've been working on for probably the last year and a half. I didn't want to go anywhere. I appreciate that several companies reached out immediately. I said I have this one plan. I want to do this on my own, and even so, Scott D'Amore was so insistent because the locker room was so strong, and somebody in the locker room of TNA reached out, and I go, man, you guys are really making this hard. I said, let's do some dates. I'm not going to sign for 3 years, but I said I just want to bounce around and be a hired gun. I'll go with anybody and do anything. I said I just got out of a long-term relationship, 19 years. I don't want to sign a paper that says you can't do this. I can still represent companies. I'm a great brand ambassador. I just don't want to be locked in. I did it for too long. I stayed a couple extra years to get the good money. Now I'm rested up. I'm in the best shape of my life mentally and physically. I think I timed it out perfectly. No matter what any fans tell me on Twitter, I did my plan exactly how I want to do it, and I want to bounce around. I thought I was going to bounce around for 6 months and then look around. I think I'm going to do a year, maybe longer, and then settle down somewhere. So far, Japan treated me so well. That locker room is awesome. So what do you make of Nick Nemeth, and do you think he'll eventually end up in AEW, or could he end up signing exclusively for TNA Wrestling for New Japan Pro Wrestling? Let me know your prediction for that one. Now, Cody Rhodes has released new merch based on The Rock making him bleed last week on Raw. On the March 25 edition of Raw, The Rock snuck a sneak attack in Cody Rhodes from behind and proceeded to bust him open in a memorable angle. The final boss ended the segment by wiping Cody's blood on his weight belt that read Mama Rhodes. On March 31st, Cody Rhodes took to his Instagram story to post a photo of his new shirt and hyped tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn, New York. The new shirt has the American Nightmare logo with blood splattered on his face and the lettering in blood red as well. The Rock and Roman Reigns will appear on tonight's episode of Raw to confront Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins ahead of their tag team showdown at WrestleMania 40. The four men will meet in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, while Roman Reigns will defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania Night 2. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to AEW Dynasty, AEW's newest and latest pay-per-view offering. It will take place on Sunday, April 21st in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, as of the latest update from WrestleTix, which you can see on the screen right there, there is a current setup of 6,230 at the Scheifert's Arena in St. Louis. There's only 731 tickets left available, with 5,499 tickets being distributed. The days until the show, it's about 3 weeks now, just under 3 weeks, are going to be taking place 3 weeks yesterday. Now, the last event to take place in this very arena was AEW Collision back on January 20, and they only drew 3,109. So already they have distributed far more tickets than they did last time. What are your thoughts on these numbers, and what do you think the final number will be? Let me know your prediction for that one too. And finally, a bit of an update when it comes to Pete Dunn in his producer role in WWE. Now, 2024 has already seen a lot of changes in the career of Pete Dunn. After dropping the Butch name for his original NXT moniker, Dunn has reunited with Tyler Bate to form the new Catch Republic tag team. Despite the duo coming up short against the Judgment Day for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships at Elimination Chamber, they've kept their momentum on the SmackDown brand. And as previously mentioned, Dunn has also been working as a producer for the new WWE Speed Show and its matches. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, they provided an update noting that Pete Dunn has once again produced WWE Speed matches this week during the SmackDown tapings, which were Dragon Lee vs. Ricochet and Bronson Reed vs. Cedric Alexander. WWE Speed is set to premiere this coming Wednesday, April 3rd, on the company's Twitter/X account. Pete Dunn will also team with Tyler Bate to compete in the six-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 40. But there you go, guys. That's latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.